So after our introduction the last time, I said that we would now speak a little bit about the actual financial model that one could look at and see how this would work at a domestic level, for example, were you to invest in solar. So on the screen now you'll see a model that we are using which shows 100,000 Rand investment, which would return in property about 5.5%. If you were invested in Satrix, 6.89, and about 6.25 in a call account. As we know, the ever-increasing price of Eskom tariffs is literally 10-15% per annum, and sometimes at the moment they're looking for 19%. Simply put, by investing in solar on your property today, you could save nearly 2 million Rand over the next 20 years. Now 20 years sounds a pretty long time, but if one considers that Y2K was 20 years ago, it doesn't really seem that long. So there's definitely a financial case. The return in terms of percentages will be 40.7% on your capital. So there is no investment that I know of that can literally guarantee you that return, unless Eskom somehow miraculously reduces the tariffs substantially going forward, which I can't see that being the case. So it certainly is something to consider from an investment perspective. Over and above the investment perspective, and something that is quite relevant right now, many of our commercial customers have fairly large systems on their buildings, but of course they've been closed for business, as we all have, yet their system is still making energy and is feeding in under a proper feed-in tariff, so properly regulated, to the Joburg City Council in this instance, and they're getting 49 cents per kilowatt hour back. So while they are not there, literally the amount of feed-in and the credit that they're getting on their account covers the network capacity charge, so that base cost that you get from Eskom, it covers that, and in fact they're getting small credit, but they're getting credit added to their account every day when the sun shines. So effectively not really having to worry about paying electricity accounts, and are getting a small credit because of the size of their system. So okay, a bit of a peculiar situation, but we all don't work on the weekends, for example, and your business could then feed that excess energy in a domestic situation where you're at work all day, the other 5 days, then if you're not using much power, it can also feed in. The alternate, of course, is to put a hybrid system into your house or your business. And what a hybrid system is it does both the solar as well as the backup in one solution. So the inverter can actually run the batteries and accept energy from the solar panels. We'll go into more technical detail in later episodes, but for now I'll just keep it as simple as that. So essentially, if you were to put a hybrid system into your house, we estimate for a normal sort of 3-bedroom house with what is normal usage. There's no such thing really, because everybody uses it differently. But just taking some averages, probably 100 to 120,000 Rand will do that. Now, if you were to tack that onto your bond, that 100,000 would literally work out to be about 900 Rand a month to pay for the system. It would not take you completely off grid, so let me be very clear about that. And we get a call every day saying, I want to get off the grid, and when you tell people exactly what it costs to get off the grid, they realize that maybe they don't want to get off the grid because it is quite expensive. What you do want to do is you want to reduce the expensive part of the Eskom tariff which is the above 600 kilowatt hours. So you want to be providing that power yourself. The intelligence in the systems now allow that you can A, charge your batteries if you have a hybrid system, and then B, once the batteries are fully charged and if there's no usage in the building, you then feed that power into the grid and get the credit, and that intelligence is resident in the inverter itself. From an environmental point of view, so the bigger picture, not just all about us, and I think we've just learned in this COVID scenario that we really need to think about our fellow man and our environment and generally our world as a biome. Certainly coal-fired power stations are not the way to go. We are stuck with them for now, or we will be stuck with them probably for at least the next 10 years, but that is fine because we also need to provide people with jobs, and I'll go into a bit more detail in the next episode about jobs, but for now it's very important to note that the coal-fired power stations generate an incredible amount of carbon emissions and actually should be being taxed for that, but it keeps getting extended away, and the problem is not going away in terms of the environment and global warming, and we've seen the dramatic climate changes. So just to give you an idea of how inefficient, and if you think about how we make energy, we use coal to run a steam turbine that spins a generator. That is 200-year-old technology actually. So we really should have moved on a long time ago. Yes, and I know we do have some nuclear power, which is certainly a lot cleaner and a lot more modern, but it has its own problems, as we know. Fukushima is a living proof of that. But for every ton of coal that we mine, we need 250 litres of water. For every megawatt of energy we produce from coal, we need 3,150 litres of water. For nuclear, you also need water to cool the nuclear reactor. For every megawatt of nuclear power, we use 1,700 litres of water. Admittedly, that water is generally seawater, so it's not potable water in this instance. So that just gives you an idea of the impact that the way we make energy has on our environment. We're a water scarce country. We should be doing everything we can to save water, and certainly generating electricity using coal is not one of them. So I really think that we need to think at an individual level about how we make and use energy. One, because it's becoming so expensive, but two, because of the environmental issues that we are seeing. So in the next episode, I'll talk a little bit about some of the challenges that we have in terms of moving away from coal, and what we could do and how we could actually serve South Africa better with all of our challenges in terms of jobs. Thank you for watching.